in free spots during the entire month. That's right, you'll get 50% more for your money, giving your brand even more exposure. Don't miss out on this amazing opportunity to celebrate our anniversary with us and boost your brand's exposure. Contact us now and let's make this a month to remember. This offer is valid for the month of April only, so act fast and make the most of it. Happy anniversary to us, and here's to many, many more years of success together.
In Ghana, right across the Eastern Caribbean, it is 9 hours 7. Good morning. Welcome down to this, your April 14th edition of Sabaki PR, your morning's love, your recipe for happiness on this rainy Friday morning. We hope you guys are going to have a fantastic day with us. We hope you guys are going to stick around with us as we keep you company with some great music, all right? It's raining cats and dogs. It's traffic and non-stop on South 1 Street. So we know that today's going to be a crazy day. How are you, buddy pal?
I am not good at all. Not good at all because one, Fridays are not my favorite day.
It is your favorite day because you're not here to do what you do on Friday, so you should be grateful that you're over there.
What do you mean?
On Fridays, you said you're packed with deliveries. Now that you're on vacation, you should be happy.
That's not what I said. I said on Fridays I have a lot of things to do.
So you should be happy. Now relax. Sabaki Pian,
No,
go sleep.
I still have the same amount of work.
Go sleep. You're on vacation, girl.
Well, I'll get to the reason why I'm not feeling well today is because I didn't get to sleep properly last night.
You kill cat?
I don't know, but the weather is way too hot.
Mm-hmm.
And it is very hot again today. So we just went from winter straight to summer.
Mm-hmm.
There was really no in between. So I'm very, very annoyed at the weather.
Go have an ice bath.
And it's also going to be very sunny throughout the entire day with probably the same temperature and getting a bit hotter throughout the rest of the day. So I am very jealous of those who have rain right now.
Yeah, we do. And I don't like it.
I love it.
The road is wet. I hate to walk on wet roads.
Well, can't please everyone.
Yeah, that's so true. The road is wet. It's going to be, according to the weather forecast, it's going to rain throughout today. So we wish everybody who got to go out there and do what they got to do. It's traffic heavy outside, so I can only imagine. Let me see what's happening on the west side, on the east bank. Hold on 1 second. But yeah, it's Friday. You know what we do on a Friday. We like to put the party into everything you do on a Friday. And so we hope you guys are going to stick around with us this morning. We've got that Chutney Hood segment that we brings to you at just about 10 hours 45. We hope you guys can look forward for that. Traffic, it's moving slowly on the east bank, but the bridge has a huge build up there. So yeah, And now I know why the back-to-back traffic here on Sapon Street. So you want to tell the people?
Hope that you guys are having a fantastic morning. Thanks for joining us. And I know Friday's a day that you guys love. And I just hope that for whatever reason, you're going to have a fantastic Friday. You're going to have a fantastic weekend, start to your weekend. And whatever you have to do today, ensure that you do it all so that your boss doesn't have to call you over the weekend or Monday and got no long suck teeth as to why you didn't finish all your work and, you went for the weekend. So just do what you got to do and leave on a good note today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. So 10 minutes after 9 o'clock, we go to the music. It is the 14th of April. Wow. Mid-month already. Anyways, we promised not to talk about this, so I would not. So we continue the great music right here on 99.1 and 99.5 FM. The radio with a difference.
I come to tell you again. You don't know my name. I have to enjoy my life back again. Throw away all my worries, the headache and pain. Up top tag, the gal left and gone. Time to enjoy myself, cause I am a single man. Up top tag, yes, the gal left and gone. Time to enjoy myself, cause I am a single man. Call me the up top boss, they call me the up top dog. You better don't say a word whenever you see me a boss. Up top dog, you don't know. So many things that I do in my life. I was just trying to find me a wife, but Dan, I can't understand. The woman tell me that she have another man. The woman tell me that she have another man. So many things that I do in my life. I was just trying to find me a wife, but Dan, I can't understand.
You're none of them some boy that style selector agile. Blaze Antonio said,
the woman tell me that she have another man. To lime and then she leave and walk out on me because it's of this girl who messing with me well and I don't know what else I could say. Oh baby, why you blaming me so? She's just a girl that I used to know. Oh baby, why you blaming me so? She's just a girl that I used to know. So this is the youth from Cuba. When you see me rising, come take a bounce up with me. When you see me fetting, come and celebrate with me. When you see me dancing, come take a jump up with me. When you see me rising, come and celebrate with me.
Chataniya hai sahiya silhouette pe PC. Chataniya hai sahiya silhouette pe PC. Silhouette pe PC hai silhouette pe PC hai silhouette pe PC. Chataniya hai sahiya silhouette pe PC. Chataniya hai sahiya silhouette pe PC. Chataniya hai sahiya silhouette pe PC.
Antonio said that.
हाय दिल का निशाना चलो माना कहीं यार कहीं पार वालों
Write down your number, write down the place. If you see me there again, remember my face. I imagine your bumper coming with you, so I go make sure it's up plenty space. Kim in you ever kick it with a singer? Take you on a date to a pop and skinner. All what you see, you sing low tiller. Don't be surprised with a ring on your finger. K.I.
उनसे मिली नजर के मेरे होश उड़ गए उनसे मिली नजर के मेरे होश उड़ गए ऐसा हुआ सर ऐसा हुआ सर के मेरे होश उड़ गए उनसे मिली नजर के मेरे होश उड़ गए उनसे मिली नजर के मेरे होश उड़ गए
Mr. Raymond, Delina Dan, a nation of love, Dan nation. What they want to do, we are what to do. Here we go. What they want to do, boom a tongue bariki, I nahi uddi. What they want to do, hila de challi di, tuk 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 kar di, makeup tuk kar di, yeah. To the next level, अंग्रेजी पढ़ दी, कितनी तू कर दी, जी में कोई न सके विक्टोरिया, तू कहती बिग बैन दी, पूरा लंदन घुमकदा, ओके तू नच बैन दी, पूरा लंदन घुमकदा, तू कहती बिग बैन दी, पूरा लंदन घुमकदा, ओके तू नच बैन दी, पूरा लंदन घुमकदा, that nation, Mr. Raymond.
You're none of them song boy could style select the agile. Blaze Antonio said that.
Connection. What they want to do, what they are what to do. Here we go. What they want to do. Boom, a tongue bariki, I nahi uddi. What they want to do. Hila de challi di, tuk 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 kar di, makeup tuk kar di, yeah. To the next level, अंग्रेजी पढ़ दी, कितनी तू कर दी, जी में कोई न सके विक्टोरिया, तू कहती बिग बैन दी, पूरा लंदन घुमकदा, ओके तू नच बैन दी, पूरा लंदन घुमकदा, तू कहती बिग बैन दी, पूरा लंदन घुमकदा, ओके तू नच बैन दी, पूरा लंदन घुमकदा, that nation.
To 21 minutes after 9 o'clock. And we want to say happy birthday to our very own Shivani Rampersad. She's celebrating her birthday today. Happy birthday to you, darling, from all of us here at Team Kaieteur Radio. We love you, we love you, we love you. Hope you're going to have a fantastic one today.
All right.
Drinks and
Happy
you today.
birthday to you.
Yeah, drinks and you today, Shivani.
I want to hear when the drink's gonna ever be on you. That's what I want to hear.
The drinks will always be on me. Special people, you know.
In your dreams.
Special people, the drinks will be on me. Don't worry.
Oh, I see. Good to know. That's very good to know.
So what's poppin'?
Good morning to Alfred, Anu Gurchan. RT, good morning to you, girl. We definitely have to hang out. I've got, let me see. Natasha Sankar, she says, lovely songs to start the morning. Love your program. This is Natasha Sankar from Essequibo. We've also got Indira Balgobin. Manita C. Livingstone, she says, can you guys please write the movie name that Sarita was talking about yesterday? Yes, if you do check on our Facebook page as well as Instagram, we have posted the flyer for the movie. It's called Girayan. you can head across to our Facebook page. That's Subaki PR, and you're going to find all the information that we share here on the show. So head on over.
Yeah.
Rohini Narayan, good morning to you. Natasha Singh. We've also got Rewati Arjun. Nadia Gani, of course, has just joined us. To all the fantastic people and the new names that we're seeing this morning, thank you so much for being here. The time check for you is already 9 hours 22. And remember, guys, we're going to be recommending a film for you. But these are certain things that you've got to go on our actual social media pages to find out. We also have a lot of updates that we're sharing on our Instagrams status. So if you guys want to know what's happening with your favorite actors, actresses, you want to know what's a quick thing that's happening in Bollywood, what new movies releases, song releases, what your favorite actor and actress is up to, what film what nominations, what awards are being given. These are all things that we're going to be sharing with you on both of our social media pages, with our TikTok coming very soon. So guys, like, follow, and remember to also share them so your friends, family, and people who like us didn't know that we have a social media presence.
Oh yeah, now they will
follow us.
Head across there, Sabaki PR, and like up the thing. Not only like the thing, but share the thing too. All right. As you want to do this morning. So yeah, good morning to everyone joining us near and far. I want to say good morning to Mark and Sasha. They're joining us in Lethem. We seem to have a lot of people joining us in Lethem. I love that. And of course, they're joining us via our website. Remember, persons want me to repeat that website. It is www.kaiternewsonline.com/radio. All right. So anything else you want to tell people, buddy pal?
No, just Joni Mahabir says she's locked in from Annandale. Rohani Narayan is wishing everyone a wonderful weekend. Sridat Rabindranath says he's wishing Shivani Ramprasad a happy birthday. She says, happy birthday to Miss Shivani Ramprasad, wishing you all the best. Rohini says, love you. Nadia Gani, Rewati Arjun. So many persons are joining us this morning on the live. Good morning to you.
We're happy.
And happy Friday. Even though it's not my favorite day, it is my favorite day. But after 3 p.m., that's when I love Fridays. But for right now, it's a lot of work. So for those persons who, like me, have a lot of work on Fridays, Friday's one of your busiest days. That's all right. We're going to play the music because it's keeping my company and it's sure to keep yours.
All right. So shall we go, everybody?
Let's continue with the music.
mischief maker. No, I don't cater. I was born a mischief maker. Mischief maker. My mama sent me with a disclaimer. Since I small, I don't have no behavior. But I don't cater. I was born a mischief maker. Mischief maker. No, I don't cater. I was born a mischief maker. Mischief maker. Me mother say that she in charge of finding my wife. Arrange marriage, the woman for the rest of my life. But after 1 year, my marriage was done. My mother chose the wrong woman. After 1 year, my marriage was done. My mother chose the wrong woman. The girl she named Natasha. Natasha. Yeah, the girl she named Natasha. Natasha. Side to side. Side to side.
Yo, King Steph. Yo, bug.
Some lovely music for you this Friday morning. 9 hours 40, that's your time check. Let me just remind you, lovely people, that for the entire month of April, once you spend $100,000 and over, you get, in return, you get 50% bonus spot. So I want you to take advantage of that and call a marketing team today on 226-7455 or 225-8465, and let's work something out for you.
Yep. Guys, remember, if you know Joshua or me or Selector Alex, or you know anyone that works at the Kaieteur Radio family or Kaieteur News in general, just reach out to us and we'd be happy to work out a budget that best suits you for your business. Or even if it's not an entire business, it's just something that you've recently brought in. It's a few products you have, you're bringing a whole container of something, you want to get the word out there, or it's a promotion that you have, it's a special, it's a barbecue, it's a hangout, it's a family event, it's a one-off event, whatever it is. Feel free to reach out to us here. Remember, we have social media presence. We also have our Facebook Lives. We have YouTube. We have the Kaieteur News' website. We also have the apps, the Radio Garden app, all the Go Loud apps and so on. So we're definitely getting the reach to different clients, different people. So this is definitely the station that you want to get your ads with. So come on board. But Ipal, I want to talk about something this morning.
Alrighty.
It's Friday, and even though, listen, University June is when it's, wedding season.
Yeah.
A lot of weddings happen then. People get married. People get married anytime. They just they get married anytime. They don't have to wait on June. People get marrying all the time.
January, February, March, April, May.
A lot of weddings.
Yeah.
Sorry?
I said January, February, March, April, May, June. People get time. Just married.
Yes. yes. But last night I came across something very funny, and I wanted to ask our listeners this morning. So I saw someone sharing this meme, and they were like, "What do you think the bride and groom just talk about when they're on stage? What do you think they talk about when they just get married and they sit down there, they're watching everybody, just smiling, they're laughing? Like, what do you think they're talking about?" And I had some really, really hilarious responses.
That exact thing crosses my mind. When they finish, let's just say church or whatever, they finish what they're doing, and then they go in that vehicle and it's just them and the driver. Like, what do they, like, babe, we just get married. Like, what do you say? Like,
what do you say? Okay, guys, we want you to tell us. I'm sure some of you are married.
Yeah.
What did you and your significant other talk about? Even if it's funny, we want to know what y'all are talking about. I mean, I have an idea.
Keep it PG-13.
Married. I don't know what y'all talking about, right? But please keep it PG-13, radio friendly. What do you guys think they talk about, or what do you know they talk about if you've been married and you've been in that position? A lot of persons are talking about, the one come there, you bring glass as gift, no glass you bring as gift.
You know, someone once told me,
Other persons are saying, who them the me to invite
Me to
them?
invite
Did you
them.
invite them? Is your people or is my people?
Look, she shoe loose in. Look.
Yeah. What? Auntie Patsy come? Why we well stone dress? We never see her wear the dress before. Other persons are talking about, they can't wait to get out of here. Honeymoon.
Honeymoon,
You
you
know,
know.
they're
Oh,
gonna go
boy.
hold you down tonight. You know? It is hilarious what people are talking about. So
It's so
guys,
true.
share with us this morning, what do you think people are talking about the wedding, the couples when they get married,
Yeah.
when they sit on the stage and they're, they got, for example, like the reception.
Uh-huh.
The reception, they're sitting next to each other most of the times at the table, and then the entire ceremony is being carried on where people are coming and doing their tributes and whatnot
Yeah,
and whatnot. And giving them good words and all these things. What do you think they're talking about when they're sitting there or under the maro or in the vehicle when they're ready to drive off, or they're usually smiling, maybe not play up with one another, them a whole hand and a play footsie, all kinds of things are happening. What do you think they're saying? We're
That's true.
curious. Share with
That's
us this
true.
morning.
That's so true. Let us know. Let's know that. You got me thinking. Like, indeed, that exact thing. I always, the one that really gets me is, what do they say in the vehicle when they're going? Like,
It's something like the same thing that they would say. Remember, different weddings have different way that they do things. The Hindu weddings and the Muslim weddings, they would just sit there and have everybody come up and wish them well and take pictures and all that. The Christian weddings, it happens sometime too, but then most times they drive off from the church and then they go to maybe their
Reception.
home or the reception or something like.
And
It's
then
the same
sometimes,
sitting down,
yeah,
sitting down.
sometimes you will see during the reception, they're gonna lean over to one another ears, to one another something, they're gonna laugh. So I just wanna know, what is that? What is it? What are you saying?
No way he tells you when she laughed like that. I know what he told her.
We gonna
I'm
have
gonna
a
take
grand
off-
time,
What's the thing
whole
that's
night tonight, a whole
What's
night
the thing that's
tonight.
underfoot, the garret? What is it?
Oh, help me, people. I don't know what it is. Let me see. Bright thing on
The
foot.
thing that is have on top of your thigh where you gotta go and the dress
You gotta go on and take it out.
I forgot the name of it. It's a G word, I think. Yeah, when she smile like that, you must tell she make a bite them off.
Hello. I'm not taking part in this conversation.
And let me go to the music break.
When we
while
come
you
back-
guys tell us what they're talking
Yes,
about.
when we come back, we've got your horoscope segment lined up for you.
kuchur manawe, sab parivar kuchur manawe. Gunga gana, gunga gana, gunga gana, gawe, gunga gana, gawe, gunga gana, gawe, gunga gana, gawe. Sab parivar kuchur manawe, sab parivar kuchur manawe. Gunga gana, gawe, gunga gana, gawe.
Roll up the tassa, roll up the tassa, roll it, roll it. Roll up the tassa, roll up the tassa, roll it, roll it, roll it. Roll up the tassa, roll it, roll it. Roll up the tassa, roll it, roll it, roll it. This is jam. This is a soca culture jam. Man, ready for now? Yes, massive. This is Alison Hines alongside Super T. Two queens together on the remix. Around West Savannah, red hot with fever, Indian Bazaar, net jamming soca, jamming soca. Old man Visesa, decorating tapra, pull out the tassa, start jamming soca, jamming soca. Well, the music something sweet, and the crowd getting the heat. If you hear how people ball, this is a tassa ball. Roll up the tassa, this is a. Oh, big roll up the tassa, this is a. Rip up the tassa, this is a. Rip up the tassa, this is a. Oh, big
Lotela, kube lotela.
Hey, Ravi.
Kube lotela.
Yeah, Ty, where you like?
So roll to the tassa, and sing to the tassa. I still roll up the tassa, roll to the tassa, give me lotela.
Hey, it's me. I hear what shot me steam. Me, Ravi B, get everything you need. Cock up, get wild with your friend in the street. Arch up your back, call your wine so you need. Take charge, and my level so you roll with the beat. Sweet on your bad Taliban group treat. Everyone link up, woman by the tools and the trees. Make everybody get relief.
Me and Tempa link up in a big wedding. Time to meet the Tulaha and the Tulahin. Tempa hit the tassa and start freestyling. Everybody gather around and started dancing. So roll to the tassa and sing to the tassa. As the roll up the tassa, roll to the tassa, give me lotela. Lotela. Nagaela, bhauji leke sabun, kuban nagaela. Bhauji leke sabun, kuban nagaela. Bhauji leke sabun, kuban nagaela.
57 minutes after.
All the ladies joining share.
57 minutes after 9 o'clock?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You gotta be kidding
It's
me.
that time.
You gotta
it's
be
that
kidding
time.
me.
Sorry?
I said you gotta be kidding me.
Nope. That's the time.
You know, Friday.
That is the time.
Fridays, the days generally drag, but today seems to be moving as fast pace. All right. So you ready for your horoscope?
Tell me what's going on.
It's just you and I and Alex. Ajay is somewhere in the middle of nowhere, so wake up yourself, Ajay. So I'm gonna read you and I alone. All right. So it says here this morning, lovely dreams could spark your imagination and get your artistic abilities going. You could learn a lot about yourself and whatever has been limiting you.
Well, what if I get a chance to dream and sleep because I have not been sleeping for the past 2 days?
I feel your pain. I don't know how you do
bro,
it.
I hate when I don't get to sleep.
I don't know how you do.
Properly.
When I don't get to sleep, I'm scratchety.
Yeah, that's how I'm feeling right now. I'm also having a headache.
Drink some coffee to help you. Well, no, you can't sleep again. Never mind. It's hard. Never mind.
Exactly.
Libra, the best. Oh Lord, this again.
I just love how you plugged that one in there.
This again. Okay, vocalist, you gotta relax for now. It's my turn now. It says a new friend could arrive today, Libra. You're probably going to like this person very much, or he or she probably shares many of your interests. you could become close friends. I just want to show you for a moment, right? I want to show you for a moment. I'm going to do this. You see it?
Oh, you're turning off your phone?
Yeah. My phone is off.
Oh, okay. Well, let me know in what alternative way I can message you.
On Zoom.
You, huh? I just constantly see you having new people in your every one of your horoscopes talks about somebody new coming into your life. I don't know. I don't know. I hope somebody could really deal with this. Or you know what? Forget the other person. I just hope that you know the limits, the boundaries, and they're just friends.
I do not know what you speak of.
It's a thing with the Libra people buy. It's a thing with they just like having new people in their lives.
Libras are just loving and kind.
Yeah, yeah, but they're a little too hospitable. Maybe that's why people are always coming to them.
But hey, we gotta go to the news. We'll be back after this. Stay with us right here on Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM.
This is the news on top of the hour.
Live from our studio in Georgetown.
Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 FM.
With your news at this time, I'm Kevin Smith. Vice President Dr. Barbara Jagdeo confirmed yesterday that the EPA is in the process of wrapping up discussions on a parent guarantee from ExxonMobil Corporation for the Stabroek Block. Yesterday, the chief policymaker for the oil industry said he spoke with officials at the EPA before attending the briefing, and they confirmed that those discussions are in the final stages. He predicted that it should reach finality in a matter of weeks. The vice president was keen to know that he does not want to impose, whether unwittingly or not, any artificial deadlines on the EPA team, which could affect its ability to be thorough at the technical level. He did note, however, that the matter of a parent guarantee, which could be in the vicinity of $2 billion remains a priority for regulators. And also making headlines today, new IMF report says oil-rich Guyana among 5 countries in the region listed as heavily indebted poor countries. Guyana has to utilize international arbitration to address disputed costs by Exxon, says Jagdeo. Final report on audit of Exxon's $7.3 billion bill handed over to government. Photographer believes social media personality responsible for shooting up home and has been unable to work since the attack. And man swindles granny and others out of money for US visas. And that's the news at the moment. Thank you for listening.
Kaieteur Radio, keeping you informed.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Burbies 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
Not a single bar of service.
Not with us. Digicel officially has the best mobile coverage in Guyana, be it in Aishalton or in Etteringban. We got you covered. Digicel, better together.
This is how we do it on a Friday. Oh my goodness gracious me. Friday is my favorite day when it comes to music. I just love me myself some Fridays.
Yeah, so I'm gonna hold on the show while you just make your way over to a mental health institution.
Yes!
Till I was 5, and we're on to our second and final hour here on the show. We hope that you're having a fantastic Friday with us. So someone messaged to say that it's called garter, and yes, they're absolutely correct. That was a G word I couldn't remember.
Okay.
It's a garter. That's the thing that he go bite off from your foot. You tell she?
Uh-huh.
Me go bite him off, me go bite your foot though.
And then she can laugh.
You know, you tell she, yeah, nothing me go bite off that alone. You know, so these are
I don't play. Take the show for today.
right. So guys, if you just joined us, you wonder what we're talking about. We're just
talking
talking
about
about this meme that I came across last night. You know, what do you think the bride and groom just talk about when they sit down there on the stage, or they sit down there and they're watching all the visitors and all the guests and all the everything? What do you think they're talking about? So we had a few funny comments on Facebook as well.
Yeah.
I want to say good morning to all those people that are joining us that we have never seen or heard from before. That is amazing. We really do appreciate you coming on board and you talking to us here, interacting. We really do appreciate it. So Sati Ram, just good morning to you. Rohini Rambajan, she says good morning to all. Nirmala Prasad, who's my second mom, good morning to you. Deborah Prasad says good morning, and she's wishing Shivani a really great birthday. Shivani Bisram, it says good morning. She's wishing everyone a happy day, a great day. We're having so many persons, but I can't see the rest of messages, buddy pal. So maybe you can help me out there.
So we got Nadia Ghani saying good morning as usual. Rouhani, basically everyone you said there. Clint Chase. Yes, Clint gave us the wedding garter.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for that. So Jasmine Prasad says he will say, can't wait for these people to go home a hungry baby.
Yes. It's kind of funny because remember for your wedding day, like everyone's watching you, right? And like you won't be able, normally we at the home or you're there and you're wherever you just laugh and you just eat your food and then in your wedding day you're already running behind time with everything. You're already not getting a proper meal, because you got to your dress and you gotta look good and you can't eat certain things because you want pimple come out on your face and everything changes when it's your wedding time.
Yeah.
Right? And then no, you can't get to eat because you just done married. Everybody want to see you. You gotta go sit down there. People gotta take picture with you. They gotta video you. They gotta put you up on a TikTok. Right? And now you can't get to eat. And when you do get to eat, you have to eat in such a posh way. You
can't bite the
because
bone.
the video camera up on you. No, you can't eat how you want.
Yeah.
The video camera up on you and the picture and people phone up on you. And you have to eat very proper.
And make it more such, if he or she got family from the US, you got to impress them.
Yeah, or if the Bai family come in from America,
yeah,
or your family, you never really reached them before, so you try to put on the best first impression. It's your wedding, man. Guys, we're just having a fun discussion. We're not attacking anybody. We're just having a fun discussion. It's humorous. You can't just be taking life so seriously with everything.
That's true.
It's just having fun.
So Jasmine went on to say, buddy pal, they talk about the presents and who look beautiful. All right. So Nanda Lal was saying she smiled all the time. So I'm pretty sure I'm guessing she's married, and she's telling me that she would have smiled all the time.
So she didn't talk to your husband at all? You know, tell her about you look nice. Where you get her shoes from?
Venus.
You buy them from Venus Footwear. you know, like, don't you guys talk about this thing? Doesn't it to you? You look so good. Maybe we should you could look so every day. You know? Or you know, like, and then I do see, I gotta talk about this as well. Like, I mean, understand. You like the buy like you, I get married. Right? Whether I get married through family agreeing or I had to force the family for agree. The point is I get married. It's supposed to be a happy day. That's why people get married. If not, you should just take home Matty and just, go live.
Tell me about it, girl.
Right? and then them face sour sour. I don't know if maybe they've had a falling out, they've had a disagreement, or what. But I mean, I've seen certain weddings where they seem to be fine. You know, they're talking, doing whatever, but then they face and people go for, are you smile now? People go for ask them, are you smile now? Why not smile? What makes you not smile? Like, I just don't get it. You know, why aren't you guys smiling? Remember, you got to realize that whether it's, you know, whatever disagreements. I mean, some of us, to be honest with you, I've heard some real horror stories. Happening on people's weddings, and maybe that's one of the reasons why their faces are like that, because I've heard some wedding stories where brides found out on their wedding
Oh
day
my
itself
goodness. Yeah.
that their intended husbands are cheating on them, where the girl messaged them and tell them, you getting married to this man, I want you to know that this man and me there. You know, like, I've heard some horror stories,
Yeah.
right? But I mean, apart from that, I know some people, I've seen some people where I know they're fine, like during the wedding, they're fine. But then when it's time for the wedding picture, now, them not smile, but them a talk to one another fine, so I know that there's no problem or whatever. Why are you not smile? It's you got to realize the videography, the photos, gonna last for a lifetime.
Yeah.
You know, put on a smile. It's your happy day. That's the reason why you threw an entire wedding.
Yeah.
If you didn't want to feel this discomfort, or you don't like this or whatever, you just shouldn't have done a wedding, you know. But don't ruin what a lot of money has been invested into, and time, and people's time also, because they wanted to celebrate with you, which is why they're there.
Yeah.
You know, some people is just be there for the food and your drinks and whatever, and then I bring gift. Right, but the point is, you know, jokes aside, you know, people are there to celebrate with you. So to the future people and the people who are intending to get married very soon or later this year or whatnot, you know, oh my God, please smile.
Yeah.
You know, we're begging I for smile.
Please smile. You know, we had this conversation. We had this conversation the other day, whereby we saw photos of a couple getting married, and the bride, she is smiling from ear to ear. But the man,
yeah.
and I asked her, you
I
know,
would take from that he's not happy to be there.
I did ask her. I said, man, you know, what's going on? Oh, Josh, you know, he hungry, he eat all day. Like,
Really? You didn't know that this would happen on your wedding? You think you'd be able to eat normal?
he did what? He didn't want his belly look good. I said, did you eat? She said, no. I said, and you were smiling, right? She said, yeah, but he moody. I said, here, no, man. It's your husband and you gotta know how you want to live with him. But I just say it look really bad. Right? You invest so much,
and
you invest so much money in a photographer. Trust me, it was a very
Just for
expensive
you, every day
photographer.
watch back your wedding pictures.
Yeah,
one
to see a
smile,
sour face.
One just one
Yeah.
just because he didn't get to eat. Everybody don't get to eat on their wedding day. Nobody gets to eat on time.
Yeah.
You know, nobody gets to do anything because, you know, they gotta look good and want belly pulch out or whatever. But the point is, come on, that's a very silly reason to be. And then, you know, we're gonna talk about this another day. But you see that same thing there, where you know, somebody is moody and they get to act and behave however they want, and their partner has to put up with it. That is selfishness.
It is.
That is absolute
It
selfishness.
is.
And you know, these are things that we're gonna address in another day, in another forum, right? But that is selfish, especially on a special day like your wedding day, and one partner chooses to have attitude while you just have to be smiling it out.
Yeah.
That is not a wedding they're going to remember very comfortably.
And it looked real, and trust me, you know, it looked really bad, because I remember she was the one going around and gaffing with people. You have to do it
And he just
together,
like-
and he just in a corner with his friends. You have to do it together.
That's it.
No,
That's
you and I
That's what
get
people
married.
don't realize how bad these
it
things
looks.
look.
You and I
And
get.
people, and let me tell you,
Uh-huh.
as people like you and me, we would already pick it up. That relationship has problems.
It has problem, because you know, you
Yeah.
and I got married. We have to go and greet the guests together. Thank you for coming. So there will be time when you'll be at your friends, yes, and times when I'll be with my friend. That's not a problem. But let's just
Yeah.
go around greeting people first. Later on in the evening, if you want to pull a table and get off with Soraya, me got a problem. If I want to pull a table and go and get off with that Jerry, me got a problem. But oh man,
Yeah.
you know.
But there are some people who are, you know, are kind of antisocial, and I would get that. Maybe they're socially awkward. They don't know how to greet people, how to be around them, and maybe for some people like that on their
Yeah.
wedding day, it's even worse, because you know the attention is more on them. Sometimes if they're introverted, all of these things can be reasons why some people keep to themselves. Now, if you know that's the case, maybe what you could just do is just sit at the wedding table and have people come up to you instead of you having to go around.
Go
to
around
people
to
or
yeah.
whatever.
Do that. Yeah.
If you're, you know, you're feeling uncomfortable doing that.
Yeah.
Right? But like I said, in a situation like that, I would pick it up 1, 2, 3.
I pick it up right
This
away.
ain't no good. I'm telling you straight up. Unless, and this is where women or even men sometimes on the other hand too,
Yeah.
they have to deal with this. And these are little things that start to destroy a relationship and people don't see. And they
Yeah.
allow those behaviors to continue forever and ever. And then you are feeling oppressed in that relationship where you can't say nothing for your right, you can't talk for your right. And I've seen cases where if women even or men even try to talk about it, they're being silenced.
Yeah.
Like, what you gonna do? You want to fix me attitude? This is me attitude. Leave me alone. What are you trying to change me for? It has nothing to do with changing you. It's about just being more,
Yeah.
pleasant.
That's so true.
That. But yeah, I actually did have one of that in my family. One of my cousins got married and the entire wedding, his face was like that. Everybody had to ask him. And do you know, despite people asking him, he still did not change that face. And when we asked her, like, why don't you talk to him then? She was like, that's how he stay. So I'm like, you're comfortable with this on your wedding day? Like, guys, we are raising these things because these are not talked about enough.
Yeah, I
right?
agree. And I'm
Maybe
happy
if
that
you are getting married, you should talk to your partner about this. If
Yeah.
you realize he or she has a mood or attitude, let them, you can't spoil my big day like this. If you ask a lot of people what they regret about their wedding days, you would be amazed. You will be amazed at the amount of negative things they have to tell you, which they wish they could have talked about before, or what they wish they could have changed or done better. So we're just trying to highlight these things, and we're asking our viewers and listeners too, if you've had an experience with these kinds of things, whether you were the ones that got married or you were the ones that noticed certain things, share them on comment under this video so that people who are getting married soon can read these comments and they can discuss these things with their partners to understand to what extent and level you're comfortable, what you would and would not do, what would you like to see happen. Don't just leave it to don't also leave it on the day itself with the person. You don't know how they're going to react to something as well, so don't surprise them like that. Because they may have a negative reaction also. So I feel like people don't talk enough. I feel like people don't discuss and communicate their feelings enough, which is why we have and find ourselves in these very uncomfortable situations, and I would say embarrassing situations, because these are moments in your history and your life that you can't change. You can't redo maybe with somebody else, but you can't get these moments back. So do not ruin them.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Do not. It's a special moment, and you need to look your absolute best. All right, you need to look your absolute best. And so, before we go to the music, the other day she called me and she was like, looking back at my pictures, you were right. I'm like, well, there's nothing that can be done, There's nothing that can be done.
See, unless you want to draw a smiley face on all of his pictures. But I do understand, though, quickly before we go to the music, I do understand the pressure that some partners go through. And this goes to both male or female. When you have a partner that's very moody, that has a lot of attitude, as we would say in Guyanese terms. I do understand the pressure that you can go to with trying to get people to adapt and to change and to be pleasant, So if you know that you have those issues with your partners, I'm going to tell you straight up from here on, that's a red flag. And if you are unable to discuss your feelings healthily, communicate that healthily with your partner, that, hey, I notice whenever we're out, you don't really interact, you don't really smile, and you look like you don't want to be there. Are you uncomfortable with the people that we're around? Would you like if, is there someone that particularly makes you uncomfortable? Let's talk, let's discuss. So that way people can open up, and, it doesn't have to be a one-way thing where I'm shutting you out completely. Don't ask me about my attitude. That is very toxic. That is very unhealthy. That is not proper way of communicating in a relationship, and somebody's always going to be feeling oppressed. So these are things, guys, that you need to discuss with your partners, and these are things that you need to iron out. If you find that there's something that you're uncomfortable with, you should be able to healthily address that and communicate your feelings with your partner. If you have a communication gap, you have a communication problem, your relationship is in chaos. I'm telling you straight up. Because people say love is 50%, love is everything, but no, love is 50%, communication is the other 50%. If you can't communicate to your partner whatever you're feeling, whether good or bad, sweetheart, you are in trouble.
So true. I agree. I totally agree with you. I love that we had this conversation this morning. I'm noticing people are liking it, People are messaging on WhatsApp and say great conversation. And of course, the man said, like Mark said, he said, so right is right. Let's draw one smiley face.
It's the least we can do right now. Let's go to the music, guys. 10 hours 19. You're listening to Sabaki Pyar. This is Kaieteur Radio, the radio with a difference.
धड़कन सा चलता है ये कैसा रिश्ता है
मेरा एक सपना है कि देखूं तुझे सपनों में तू माने ना माने कि तू ही मेरे अपनों में
say sorry. She take it off and she put on a mini. But when the music start to play, ever see all the girls she break away. She just drunk pop, start to wind up the girl around me, and you hear what she say. A scorpion sting when girls are feeling that way. And she tells me, darling, if you love me, come right up in me. Patang patang, scorpion sting me, wah wah, feeling that good. Sorry, she take it off and she put on a mini. But when the music start to play, ever see all the girls she break away. She just jump up, start to wind up the girl around me, and you hear what she say. A scorpion sting when girls are feeling that way. And she tell me, darling, if you love me, come right up in me. Patang patang, scorpion sting me, wah wah, feeling that good. What the girl say? Darling, if you love me, come right up in me. Scorpion sting she, move she winery. The girl a moving like tiny winery. Scorpion sting she, move she winery. The girl a moving like tiny winery. Tell me the number you play, me darling. When we go meet up, me darling. When we go meet up, Barbados all over. Hey, beat around down side. Lord, Lord. Hey, somebody call me supervisor. Tell him I can make it. I'm
the music pumping.
Yo, Peter, the music pumping, the ladies jumping and hunting, something smoking, blunting, drinking, drunking, junking, no fighting, no thumping, carnival. It's a fun thing, ladies shaking, making them rum spin, enjoying themselves, showing them tongue ring, whining, grinding, pumping, them clothes, them showing them lumping.
yesterday, but don't let this feeling get away. So don't be vexed, move on to our next. So
hear what I say. The way to get over your ex-man is to take a wine under an ex-man. The only way to get over your ex-man is to take a wine under an ex-man. All in her garden, she want me to work. Down with the back, she want me to work. All for the side, she want me to. All in her garden, she want me spend time. Enough long hours a real overtime. She don't even care rainfall, sunshine. I am the maintenance man, landscape specialist, medical veteran, I'm the irrigation therapist. Love to get my fingers in the mud. It's all about the garden, not in my blood. I am the maintenance man, landscape specialist, medical veteran, I'm the irrigation therapist. Love to get my fingers in the mud. It's all about the garden, not in my blood.
Let's get giddy. You know what you do? I want you buckle up, yes, buckle up, yeah, buckle up, yes, buckle up, yeah, buckle up, yes. You know what you like? You know what you like? You like baba boom boom, 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 baba boom boom. All them yellow like come on. You like Teddy and General Rep up. You get giddy. You know what you do? I want you buckle up, yes, buckle up, yeah, buckle up, yes, buckle up, yeah, buckle up, yes. You know what you like? You know what you like? You like baba boom boom, 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 baba boom boom. Let me show you how we gonna do this thing, guys. Rosina dance, Rosina dance,
I just, this is how people say in the party. Boy, yeah! Like, I just want to, I just trying to do it. Hey, shop now, time them later. Check out our friends over there at Venus Footwear. They're located at 110 Regent Street, Lazytown, Georgetown. At Venus Footwear, they cater for every occasion, whether it's a work, school, or even a casual outing. Remember, you look in your absolute best and walking out in style is their number one
priority.
All right, gotcha. So the sun came out, just went outside to take a little peep. The sun is out in all its glory, so goodbye to Mr. Rain. I don't know what's happening. The weather.
Send it my way. Send the rain my way.
Rain, I'm going to send you a location of Sarida, and you're going to go that way, please.
Awesome.
Yeah. I fed up having it here. I fed up having it here. So yeah, please go that way. So what's popping?
Actually, this is the May June rainy season. It started in April. Well, you know the rain ain't got you know the season in Guyana ain't got no behavior now. It just fall whenever it wants, sunshine whenever it wants.
That's true.
You got no behavior.
Well, here's what the taxi driver reminded me this morning. Joshua, we're going to the May June season, and so be prepared.
I'm gonna make sure that I no longer travel during that time, so that I can enjoy the rain in its glory.
I don't know where you're going. May, June, you should be here. Enjoy the rain.
That's what I'm saying. Like I need to change my traveling schedule.
First of all, your PR person, they need lashes.
Yes, I do agree.
They need to know that you can't blame yourself. You have a lot to do. You got to blame the PR. They're the ones that booking your flight and so forth. They need to know that, Miss Negrady, this is the wrong time for you to travel.
Right.
And when you ask why, of course you're going to ask them why. They'll tell you it's a May, June rain, it's rainy season, and you like this, and you need to be in Guyana.
Right, absolutely. I will have to review their performance.
Review the performance and maybe see where they're slacking, and if not, terminate their contract immediately and hire Van Slyckman and Van Slyckman consultancy firm. That's...
Wait a minute. Melissa just... Oh, Melissa, actually, no, you're wrong, my dear darling.
Wow.
She says that we're going to get rain today, but no, we're not going to get rain. It's just going to be cloudy all day. I don't know. It's pretty sunny right now, but it's going to be cloudy later on today. There's going to be no rainfall, Melissa. There's a likelihood of 60% rainfall tomorrow.
Tomorrow's Saturday.
No rainfall today.
Wait, it's tomorrow Saturday?
There's a chance. Yeah, bro, tomorrow Saturday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So she kind of just took me up and dropped me down there, and
built-
also because
she built
Friday's
high hopes for
already a
you.
hard day.
Yeah.
Friday's already a hard day for me with all that I've got to do, and then I did not sleep properly last night. I went to bed like 3:30 this morning, or maybe almost minutes to 4, and even then I couldn't sleep properly. I kept waking up all the time, and I'm also having an ear pain that couldn't make me sleep.
You know, I'm having the same
Um,
thing. Believe it or believe it not. I'm having ear pain.
Yeah, well, yeah,
don't
you
know
having
what's
ear pain?
happening.
Well,
Yeah.
since I returned from my trip to Jamaica, all of us have been having ear pain, and I guess it's because of the water from the pools or the beaches that we went to.
Yeah, that's true.
Even the kids got sick.
Oh,
Even the
boy.
kids got ear infection and all that. Yes, so I'm guessing maybe it's
the water.
maybe an ear infection. I'll have to go check it out.
You need to go check the doctor.
Yes.
Are you on par with your allergy shot?
Oh no, I didn't actually take my allergy shots, but I have to because it's spring and there's going to be lots of pollen in the air. So I'm definitely going to have to go get my allergy shots. If not, it's shoo, shoo every time.
No, you got it wrong.
There are different sneezes according to the season, okay?
So Riley came in here one morning. Good morning, everybody. Welcome down to Sabaki Pierre.
Yes, I need that Claritin with me all the time.
Hey, 44 minutes after 10 o'clock this morning, everybody. We're so happy that you can join us on Saraki PR. But let me quickly remind the persons if they want to hop on board by becoming an advertiser or a sponsor, and they can definitely do such by calling our marketing team on 225-8465 or 226-7445.
All right.
Yeah, so what do we do? Anything else
Let's
you
go
want
to
to
a
tell people?
quick break, then we come back in at about 10 hours, 57 thereabouts to wrap things up.
Yes, let's go, everybody. This is 99.1, 99.5 FM.
Everything I try to do, never good enough for you. Nothing can please you, nothing can please you, nothing at all. I really want to make this work, but you just take me for a joke. Nothing can please you, nothing can please you, nothing at all. So I say, go back by your mother if you want me over. Go back by your father, do yourself a favor. Fed up on the same thing over again. You're not getting over and over again. I'm fed up on the same thing over again. You're quarreling over and over again. Every time I try to talk, you always ready to walk. Nothing can please you, nothing can please you, nothing at all. Every time I try complain, you just go mad and say nothing can please you, nothing can please you, nothing at all. So I say, go back by your mother if you want me over. Go back by your father, do yourself a favor. Fed up on the same thing over again. You're not getting over and over again. I'm fed up on the same thing over again. You're quarreling over and over again. You know I always love you, but you don't want to stay. I even stopped the drinking, still you go away. Baby girl, you're amazing. I know you're crazy too. Why you try to change me? I'll never change you. If you want to leave me, girl, I don't know what to do. If you want to love me, girl, I don't know what to do. If you never care for me, why didn't you tell me so? If you want to leave me, girl, I don't know what to do. Don't change me. Don't change me. Girl, I wanna know why you want to go. You know I love you so much. Baby, come here, let me hold you. I really wanna feel your touch. When I take a drink, when I gonna lime, girl, why you quarreling all the time? hands up if the struggle is real. I'm telling you, I know how you feel. Cause I feel it too, cause I feel it too, cause I feel it too. Put your hands up if the pain is real. You lost somebody, I know how you feel. Cause I feel it too, cause I feel it too, cause I feel it too. Bring a glass and come, let we drink today. Let we share some love, don't stay far away. You know I never let you down. You know I always be around. You know I never let you down. You know I always be around. No matter what you say and do, I could never trust you. No, I could never trust you. Because of all the pain you caused, I could never trust you. No, I could never trust you. You never seem to change all your dirty ways. With you I don't see a future. No, you never seem to change all your dirty ways. With you I don't see a future. And all the lies and tales always seem so real. Baby, I don't want this no more. Baby, I believe that you could be much happy, just not happy with me. No matter what you say and do, I could never trust you. No, I could never trust you.
Dance like a Bollywood star. Music force come again. Give me that band come again. The music force come again and again and again and again and again.
ये पौड़ी, ये पट्टी,
The music force come again.
हाँ दिल को चुराए मुझको पाए हाय मन कहीं मैं झूम मैं गाऊं मन कहे मैं झूम मैं गाऊं. Baby, girl, you took my heart away. I wanna be with you every day, and I don't care what nobody say. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Mr. Raymond to the Bollywood star. Alongside my guy and his sister, Vishali.
महकती हुई इन वादियों में ओ खिल खिल जाए रे मन. मन कहे मैं झूम मैं गाऊं. You have a nice thing going on, family and gal and no one. Everything you do for she. So if you know you love she and you know you're really happy, it's best you keep she away from me. You have a nice thing going on, family and gal and no one. Everything you do for she. So if you know you love she and you know you're really happy, it's best you keep she away from me.
Rude boy like we love married woman kind of, and everybody know we bad already. Believe you me, if you love your wife, you gotta stay away from me. Rude boy like we love married woman kind of, and everybody know we bad already. Believe you me, yo, Kaieteur stungy.
If you and your ex in a dealing, why it is they keep after you enjoy your life. Thinking I will take you home again. You leave me in the rain, causing too much pain. Thinking I will take you home again. Look, you deceive me, take all my money, now you come here in front me. Don't stress me out, don't stress me out. Just go your way and don't come back here. No, don't stress me out. Just go your way. Don't stress me out. Just go your way. Girl, I want you go back where you been. I ain't taking you back here again. Girl, I want you go back where you been. I ain't taking you back here again. Girl, I want you go back where you been. I ain't taking you back here again. Girl, I want you go back where you been. I ain't taking you back here again. Before. So every time when you drink, you just hate she. So she pack up and gone by she family.
You wouldn't like if a next man hit your daughter. What you do like for yourself, you shouldn't do to other.
My brother, stop drinking so much and change your life. Every time you come home, you just hit your wife.
You wouldn't like if a next man hit your daughter. What you do like for yourself, you shouldn't do to other.
So stop drinking so much and ease up, my brother. You have a wife and daughter, you not a bachelor. Bada boom, Nigel Coben, Anthony Batson, you know we do it. Push it back.
Every time I pull out the car, she tell me put it back inside. Every time I pull out the car,
She tell me put it back inside.
I can't go online with me partner.
Anytime you know, that's a boss. You pull out your car, hello. Go back. Where you going? You ain't gonna line with Sam them this weekend. I said go back in the yard. And he got to go. He gotta go. He got choice. You know?
Is that what the song is saying?
Yeah, every time you put it in your car, she said put it back inside. So every time you want to go out, you can't go nowhere. You got to go back inside.
Is Kiara or did I hear Torch?
Car.
Where did I hear Torch from?
I don't know. I don't know where you heard Torch from. Well, in all fairness, you have a problem with your ear, so I'm going to forgive you for today.
Well, right, yes. I'm not hearing too well.
55 minutes after that 10 o'clock hour. Oh my goodness, buddy pal. It was a lovely day today. I loved all the selections that was played today, especially this chutney list here right about now. There was a surprise. I mean, you know, I didn't expect this chutney list, but yeah. So what do you want to tell the people? Of course, they can join you tomorrow. Let me just
quickly. Indy Kumar says I'm gonna have rain tomorrow. There's a 60% chance of rain. I don't know, girl. We'll see. Sati Ram Juice is saying good morning. Radha Ramatar, Anjali Devi Bisnath says she's enjoying these songs. Rani Lal is listening in from the Essequibo Coast. Kausala Gokul, of course, always checked in from French Guyana. Golan Kushera, Alia Muhammad is wishing everyone a wonderful Friday. Manisha C. Prasad says she's agreed. I'm guessing she's agreeing to that wedding discussion that we were having. But yeah, guys, remember, it's not, even if it's not just your wedding, you know, whatever special occasion is happening in your life, we urge you to be as pleasant and to be as social and to be as welcoming and, you know, smiling as much as possible, because these are the moments that are going to create memories for you. I do understand that many of us have unpleasant experiences on the most special times in our lives, but we have to find ways how to deal with that so it doesn't ruin the memories that we have with these special events in our lives, be it our weddings or whatever they may be. All right. Buddy pal, always a pleasure being here with you. Unfortunately, we didn't have Selecta Alex or Ajay with us today, but that didn't stop the wonderful flow of music that they prepared and left here with us. You know, of course, the music is always 50% of us here on Sabaki PR. It's 50% light content, entertainment, humor, everything, you know, and the other 50% is music. And of course, your wonderful trio here, always keeping you company Monday to Friday from 9 to 11 a.m. If you're a first-time listener here on the show, we do hope that it has been interesting enough to have you join us here every Monday to Friday for 2 hours as we keep your company with the morning hours, taking you through your days, whatever chores you've got to get done, whatever tasks you're doing. However, whatever you're doing, we're hoping that our content, music, this show altogether is helping to contribute to you having a wonderful and fantastic and positive day.
Yeah.
Right? So have a fantastic weekend also. And remember, I know that weekend is a time where you guys are heading out to parties and events and you're getting invited and you're having backyard barbecues and picnics and hangouts. Basically, it might include some liquor, some liquor
Yeah.
there. So ensure that you guys are responsible with your drinking or however you're consuming your alcoholic products. Ensure you're being responsible, 18 and over. And just a word of reminder once again to those persons who own these, mom and pop rum shops and selling cigarettes and all these things. Please do not sell
That's
cigarettes
true.
or alcoholic products to minors.
That's so true. I really happy that you put it in. Someone posted it on social media. I believe it was last week. They were passing on the seawall during the Easter celebration. They would have seen cigarettes being sold to a young boy, and they said they stopped and they put a stop to it. And how many people like that will want to do that?
Yeah, but how many persons do you think is actually going to stop when somebody put a stopping to them?
But that's so true. That's so true.
They're just waiting till the next day and gone again. And actually, what's even more disturbing is that I've seen those same small stalls around the country where they got the kids there with them. I mean, more than likely, it's probably single parents and all that. They have the kids there with them at the little stalls, and they got the kids with the cigarettes in their hand. They get a little container, selling it to people. I mean, I at the bottom line, listen, we don't know what the struggles are, but that is still wrong at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You do not do this, and I don't know if it's because people are not aware, they're not educated, that this is not right.
Yeah.
But please do not do that. This hence why we're telling you, please do not get your children involved in the sale of alcohol and tobacco products, or do not sell these to minors either. Please, if their parents or their uncle or their auntie want these things, let them go to the shops and get them themselves. These days, at the rate at which people are using drugs and alcohol, it's one step we can take to ensure that we're not getting it in the hands of the wrong people.
Yeah, that's so true. Brother Paul, thank you so much for that. And of course, we got a Skidly Daddle out of here. You can join her tomorrow, everybody, at 13 hours for Bollywood Tune. She's going to put that party, put you in that Friday mood, put you in that Saturday.
Listen to me. Why are you always taking us one day back? Get out from here. Get out from here.
Putting you in that Friday mood, you can definitely catch her. I done. Put you in a Saturday mood. Definitely catch her tomorrow alongside Selector Alex from 13 hours. But people have a good one. Have a great weekend. And I'll see you again on Monday. God's Spare Life. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Take care, everyone.
Come and give pressure. Nabada, nabada. Do back by your mother. Nabada, nabada. This marriage thing over. I just have to sweep the house and I just have to mop the floor. I just have to sweep the house and I just have to mop the floor. All the work I doing alone. She on she phone all day, talking name with she friend. I have to cook and wash, down to she find clothes them. I can't take no more of this pressure. Nabada, nabada, go back by your mother. Nabada, nabada, this marriage thing over. Don't feel your girl come and give pressure. Don't feel your girl come and give pressure. Nabada, nabada, go back by your mother. Nabada, nabada, this marriage thing over.
This is the news on top of the hour.
Live from our studio in Georgetown.
Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 FM.
It is now 11 hours 2 in Guyana. Oil-rich Guyana is among 5 countries in the Latin America and Caribbean region that were listed as heavily indebted poor countries in an April 2023 report by the International Monetary Fund. In the report, several tables were published showing emerging markets and developing economies by region, net external position, heavily indebted poor countries, and per capita income classification. According to the report, the HIPC group comprises of countries that are or have been considered by the IMF and the World Bank for participation in their debt initiative known as the HIPC initiative, which aims to reduce the external debt burdens of all the eligible HIPCs to a sustainable level in a reasonably short period of time. And the government is prepared to challenge disputed costs claimed by ExxonMobil to extract the resources in the Stabroek block through the process of international arbitration. This is so as it refuses to renegotiate the terms of the lopsided agreement signed by the former coalition administration in 2016. According to the contract, costs that have been flagged in an audit and deemed unacceptable can be recovered by the contractor until the dispute is resolved. And the government has received a final report from the team of auditors that reviewed ExxonMobil's $7.3 billion expenses between 2018 and 2020. At a press conference on Thursday, Vice President Bara Jagdeo said that the report has been received and the technical teams are presently reviewing the document. And that's the news at the moment. Thank you for listening. Coming up right after the news will be a rebroadcast of the Glenn Lal Show, Tell It As It Is. My apologies, it would be the Wednesday edition of it. That would be the oil team and you to have your say.
Diana, join me on the Glenn Lal Show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7:20 p.m. and a rebroadcast at 11 a.m. The Glenn Lal Show only on Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 and 99.5 FM.
Thanks again for joining us this week for what I'm sure will be a very enticing and educating discussion. And I'm really looking forward to it. And I must say, it's really good to be back joining the team, although Mr. Lal is not here this evening with us. Davina and I do have quite a few interesting topics to go through this evening. We're going to keep things short and sweet, but in the same spirit, we invite you to call and share your thoughts with us. Even if you don't have questions, just call in, share your perspectives, because as we've been saying, this is a conversation where every person's opinion matters, and we want to hear from you. So I'm happy to be part of tonight's program again, continuing this discussion. Davina, I'll leave the floor open to you now for you to make your opening remarks.
Thank you, Kiana. I just wanted to say good evening again. Namaste. Welcome to our viewers and listeners. Thank you so much for tuning in. Mr. Lal isn't here, but I send you greetings, and I thank you for joining us tonight on his behalf. We plan to educate you guys on the audit tonight. What we plan to share with you are some of our findings. We have finally laid hands on this audit report, the preliminary audit report that has been released on the US $1.6 billion expenses from ExxonMobil between the cost that they incurred between the years 1999 to 2017. And so, Kiana, I know you have written quite a few articles based on your findings in that document. So, without further ado, I think we should go straight into those findings and start discussing some of those issues that were highlighted in that audit.
Thanks, Davina. One of the things I love about covering the oil and gas industry, you never know what you're going to be handed the following week.
Yes.
At one point, the focus was, and it continues to be, on, the flaws, some of the fatal flaws within the 2016 Stabber Block production sharing agreement. And what we're examining now as journalists in the field are some of the findings, the preliminary findings in an audit that focuses on $1.6 billion in costs. Now, before we get into that, I wish to lay the groundwork on, who are really the players involved in this audit. Now, in November 2019, we had a British firm that was hired. That company is called IHS Markit Upstream. And it's a very well-known company in the oil and gas industry, not just for auditing, but for a number of other services. It provides analytical research. It's also known for putting together a very important forum called Sarah Week, which is like the Super Bowl of oil conferences, and that takes place in Houston. So they're responsible for that. And as many of you can probably recall, the vice president, Dr. Barajagdio, was one of the speakers at that event. So IHS is a company that's been in the market, and it's well known to the oil and gas players. So we hired this company, Guyana, in 2019 to examine 18 years of expenses. And in those in that work that they were hired to do, we also have another layer of protection, and that layer of protection includes a team of technical officers from the Ministry of Natural Resources and the Guyana Revenue Authority, and we also have some help from the International Monetary Fund. So that team is responsible for going through the findings uncovered by IHS, and they would ensure that everything possible that they're supposed to do to protect our interests, that's been done. No effort has been spared. And on that note, Davina, while there is an audit report that we have our hands on, where we are able to see some of the findings uncovered by this company, this British company, we also have been able to access an internal document from the Guyana Revenue Authority, which shows the extent to which our people have been protecting our interests. We are able to get a front row seat as to what are some of the deficiencies our people have been highlighting, they've been finding in this audit report. And one of the stories that we did on this front examines the fact that the Guyana Revenue Authority has been able to flag 40 million US in expenses by ExxonMobil and its partners, and the fact that there was no transparency where these expenses are concerned. And the British auditor, based on the story that we've done, the British auditor simply said, hey, well, ExxonMobil has billed Guyana for X, Y, and Z, totaling 40 million US. It is completely covered under the agreement. There's no need for us to, be concerned about that because the PSC covers it. GRA and the technical officers of the Ministry of Natural Resources have said, hey, have you checked to see who exactly these materials are being purchased from? Are they related companies?
Correct.
Did you go as far as to probing to see what the original receipts are? Is it in keeping with market prices? So thankfully, we have that layer of protection that is there to ensure we're not just rubber stamping what this British auditor is providing us. Another interesting finding, Davina.
Kiana, just before you move on, if I may, I just wanted to jump in here on one of the articles that I actually covered. The same audit report, it flagged that $240 million in contracts were sole sourced, meaning that there was no sort of tendering process for the contracts that they awarded. You just went ahead and selected specific contractors and decided, I'm going to give you this and I'm going to give you that. So the auditor flagged this, and I just wanted to read a part from you from the report. It says, of the single source procurement awards, EPGL, which is the operator of the Stabroek Block and ExxonMobil's subsidiary, it failed to demonstrate the competitiveness of the rates within the contract. So this was of that amount of the contracts that they awarded, they said 28 million of this should be removed from the cost bank as they fail to show competitiveness. So this was just relating to part of what you just told the listeners. So just to enlighten you guys, $28 million in contracts, they failed to show how competitive these were. And as Mr. Lal would say, this, guys, I need you to remember and bear in mind that these are our resources, and just think about what this amount of money could be doing for you and your families. Today, I heard him mentioning downstairs that there was a man on the street that was asking him for $1,000 or something like that to get something to eat, and he was saying to us, it hurts him to know that we have so much wealth and it's not trickling down to our people. And here we have these multinational corporations like ExxonMobil swimming in our resources, literally. And this audit report, it's just US 1.6 billion. Just think about what might happen, what might be some of the findings coming out of the audit between 2018 and 2020. That is to the tune of $7.3 billion. So I just wanted you guys to think about that. I'm sorry for interrupting you, Kiana.
No, Davina, I'm happy that you raised that, because just on those 2 points, you have millions, multi-million-dollar contracts being sole sourced.
Right.
And then you have the issue with the GRA and the Natural Resources Ministry team having to flag this British auditor to say, hey, there's $40 million that was recovered and we don't have any transparency where this spending is. And that is just the tip of the iceberg. This preliminary report is not finished. Just keep that in mind. They're still going through the process of dotting all the I's and crossing all the T's. So we don't know if much more will be uncovered. But it is mind-boggling, Davina, that we are seeing this type of this pattern of unsound financial practices with 1.6 billion.
Yes.
And we have an ongoing audit of $7.3 billion.
Correct.
And this audit, and I don't want to go into all the different things that we have uncovered from this audit report tonight, because there's so many other topics that we would like to touch on. But Davina, this report, the manner in which we go about it, the approach that we take, it is going to be critical in the precedent that we set. And what I am more interested in seeing is the action government is prepared to take to ensure that ExxonMobil and its partners or subcontractors know without a shadow of a doubt that Guyana will not sit idly by and allow unsound financial practices to take place without any type of repercussion.
Yes. I'm looking forward to that as well.
That is going to be the breaking point.
Yeah.
Because Exxon, and you know, Davina, you have a very interesting point that you raised in the newspapers with your reportage on this matter, on how we're sort of tied up in terms of the legal action that we can take. And I know the vice president has a press conference tomorrow, and one of the critical questions that I think he needs to address is how we are going to go about addressing questionable costs that arise
correct
in these audits. And Davina, you know, I'd love to invite you now to just share with our audience what the contract says about the process we can take for this.
All right, so it's quite a mouthful, so I'm gonna ask you guys to give me your attention for a bit. So I was going through, given that we have finally put hands on this report and so on, and we have finally been able to go through some of these findings from our first audit report, I decided to delve into our production sharing agreement that we signed on to with ExxonMobil, and specifically to look at what it says about the audits and its findings. And, you know, because I myself, not just as a journalist, but as a citizen of Guyana, I wanted to know, you know, what is the process? How do we go about recovering these monies that are indeed, that may be, what might be the correct term, that are not appropriate, or you know, that should not even be there in the first place, that it might be inflated cost, whatever it is. So from my research, reading through that contract, what I found is that the contract is saying to us clearly, if it is that if our audit finds that costs are there that should not be, Exxon is still going to be allowed to recover those costs. So until Guyana is able to prove to them and to explain, you know, why those costs should not be there, they are going to take our money out, and we have to go through a long process of arbitration to be able to reclaim our money. So I after raising that story, publishing it in the newspaper.
But Davina, before you go on, because I know you want to raise the other fresh point, and as Mr. Lal would love to see, you know, let's break it down a bit. If what Davina said just now hit home, try to imagine somebody rob you, or your child, or your family member. 50% of what's in your bank account. And they tell you the only way you could get back this money is if you go to court
and prove
that they actually rob you.
Right. So Exxon has to agree to Exxon has to agree to say, well, I can give you back your money. And if they say no, then we have to fight them to get that money back.
And you have to pay their lawyers in the process.
Correct. So what the contract says is that we have to go to arbitration. And so in the arbitration process, we would have to pay all the fees that is associated with not just our side of it, but their side of it, all the arbitrators and so on. We would have to stand those costs for the facilities, wherever these people use. However, you know, if they decide to rent a hotel to stay at, all of those costs we are saddled with. And so I really wanted to point that out, and so that was carried in our newspaper today. There's another aspect of it that we plan to highlight tomorrow. Let me just share with you just a little part of that. I was speaking to a specialist from Trinidad and Tobago. You guys may be familiar with him by now. His name is Anthony Paul. He, after going through this, I thought, man, let me try to understand if this is what happens around the world, if this is an industry practice for these companies to just say, man, this is my money and I can just take it out. I spend this money, I can just take it out back. So I was speaking with Mr. Anthony Paul, and he said to me, Davina, this is ridiculous. He said, there is nowhere in this world are companies allowed to do something like this. They simply cannot get away with something like this. He said the normal practice, and this should be common sense, I'm thinking, if there are costs in dispute, then those costs are put on hold. Now, Kian and I, if we have a problem concerning this cost, you can't take this money, Kiana, without us reaching a settlement. So what happens presently is that you can go away with this cost, and after the settlement, if the arbitrators say you need to pay me back, then you will pay me back with some amount of interest. But he's saying, no, this is not so. What has to happen is that those costs stay there, and until we reach a settlement, then is when you get your money or whatever. He also stressed the point that oil companies, what they do, this is a strategic move. So this contract, it says that we have to go to an international body to deal with this arbitration process. He's saying that this is what they love to do because they're fully aware that countries like ours, we're still in the development process. We are unable to finance this thing. And so that is why these companies push for this international arbitration process, because it's so costly that countries may back off and say, man, I just can't deal with this. Let me just leave them. So he's saying what happens, and specifically in Trinidad and Tobago, what they do is the minister is the final arbiter. So he decides if the costs should be awarded to the company or not. And so in Guyana, we have given up that right. The government has said to Exxon, I don't want any immunity. So you have the power to just appoint these arbitrators, basically. So that is where we are presently. And the man is saying to us, this is just one of the ways in which, one of the flaws, basically, in our PSA, that existing agreement.
Davina, when I think of the full picture of what you say, I am hearing you saying to me that this generation and the future generation will have to accept being robbed. And if we want to contest the costs that were taken, the revenues that have been taken from us, then we have to go to court.
And pay for it.
We will not only pay for our lawyers to fight our case, we will pay for the lawyers of the companies that robbed us.
Correct.
And as you had pointed out in your story, this process could take a year.
Exactly. It can take up to a year.
In the meantime, they get to hold on to this money,
right,
and reinvest it.
Yes. While Guyana gets nothing.
I mean, I don't understand how we can continue to accept that this must be the faith for this current generation as well as the future. I don't understand how we can accept this. And what makes the situation even more frightening, Davina, is the type of auditor that we have. If we have our local auditors who, and this is not to knock anyone or anything of the sort, this sector is new to us. Everyone knows that. So we have our people who with their own experience, they're able to see some of the things that are slipping through the cracks. And we have millions of dollars slipping through the cracks with this British firm.
Right.
Then it makes you wonder, where is Guyana? What are we doing? And one of the frightening things for me, Davina, is not one, how government is going to address questionable costs, the type of action they will take. And secondly, we have 2 audits, one for 7.3 billion and another one for 1.6. How are we taking the learnings and recommendations from this audit and incorporating it into another audit? And let's not forget, we still have the costs for Payara to start auditing.
I was actually going to say that just now, that is, while you were talking about your concerns and so on, what worries me is the rate at which we're going at, because government has said clearly, and you reported on this, Mr. Jack Dio saying recently, we have no apologies to give for saying that we are going to ramp up our production activities offshore.
Right.
So it's like we have been struggling to keep up with the sector as is, and so how are we going to manage with more? How are we auditing to ensure that we are not being robbed? I mean, conducting audits is just one way of ensuring that you get value for your resources. I mean, our contract is already so lopsided, right? We know that our benefits are so meager. And I won't even get into that because Mr. Lal usually stresses it, right? And so we know how little we're actually gaining from our contract. And so the least that we can do, I think, is to take these audits seriously. And if we aren't going to do that, Kiana, I'm not sure what we will ever get from our resources. As more and more projects come on stream, it's important to know that we keep spending more. So it's not just about, we don't want to see growth. We don't want to see the sector grow. What we have been saying at Kaieteur News is that there needs to be a proper management system in place. So as much as you're saying, okay, I'm ramping up production, there must be equal effort to regulate and manage the sector.
Absolutely.
We cannot just be racing ahead with production activities and we're literally crawling, when it comes to putting systems in place to manage the sector. So that is my personal take on it.
I got you loud and clear, Davina. And I really didn't want us to go too much into some of these findings because I think we would need, it would need so much more time than what we have planned for tonight. But there's just one other finding that I think it's pertinent for us to just discuss a bit, and that has to do with the findings on insurance. Now, one of the things the auditors found, and just to remind that this audit is from 1999 to 2017. So during that time, the auditors found that there was no evidence that Hess Corporation or CNOC had proper insurance coverage in place.
Wow.
No evidence was provided. Despite several requests for this to be made available for the auditors to scrutinize. Now, the only information that the auditors said they received was from ExxonMobil's affiliate company, Esso Exploration and Production Guyana Limited, EEPGL. Now, EEPGL and their documentation said, okay, yes, we have insurance coverage in place. But when the auditors checked it, they found that this company is wholly owned by the parent company for EEPGL, which is ExxonMobil. And that's all we have in place. an insurance policy from a company that ExxonMobil owns.
Yes.
And I don't know how we can still be comfortable with that, because let me let the listeners know, the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, has said that, you know, it's in receipt of a $600 million per occurrence insurance coverage. Now, we have no idea who this coverage was provided by, and we also don't know if this coverage was provided for by Hess Corporation and CNOC. We don't know if they have satisfied, because the majority of the time the question has been premised on just checking on the operator of the block. But the auditors have also pointed out that, hey, Hess and CNOC have not been in compliance with this provision, with no consequence. With no consequence for non-compliance.
Wow.
That is the standard that remains in the industry, because up until this point, we have still to secure full liability coverage for the Stabro block.
Kiana,
up to this point.
I know you said you didn't want us to spend too much time describing, you know, this audit, the findings from the audit, but there's, as you were speaking, this story that you also reported on. I think it's very important to note, even as you're speaking about Hess and CNOC, they have submitted some costs even before they became a signatory to the PSA. Isn't that so?
Oh dear, yes.
So I will allow you to explain, because I'm thinking it's just running through my brain, the fact that they have refused to give us any type of insurance while operating between this period. However, you know, they want to claim cost at the same time. So how do we justify? You know, and I'm gonna pass it over to you now.
Davina, I think, and thank you so much for reminding me about that, but that was one of the most disrespectful, insulting, egregious, disgusting findings in that report. How could you have the audacity to charge me? You were nowhere near Guyana, as the Minister of Natural Resources loved to say. You never stepped foot on this country. And you have a set of bills that you already have laid out for me, to 1 million US.
Yep.
You ain't do nothing in this block. 31 million US. You ready for me to pay, but you can't give me
any documents to show
documentation
how you spent this money
to ensure that, okay, I can see what it is spent on and what is even a slap in the face. Davina, you you did everything possible to ensure that you recover this $31 million in expenses that you racked up before you become a party to the Stabro Block PSA. But yet, you don't want to spend.
Exactly.
You don't want to put in the investment to ensure that I have full coverage for any type of environmental disaster or damage that your operations cause on our basin. It's unthinkable. And it just goes to show that we need to be so vigilant when it comes to these oil companies, because they don't care. They have no interest in ensuring that our interest is protected. The only thing they care about is their shareholders.
Correct. And like you were saying, Kiana, it just shows how disrespectful they are. And I think our government is very laid back on this matter as well. It's like we carried a story recently as well with them shifting this responsibility or full liability coverage now to the EPA, and Mr. Mr. Christopher Ram, he's an attorney at law. He has said that this is absolutely ridiculous. This matter of full liability coverage has to be dealt with by the government. How do you now shift such a major responsibility over to the EPA? You have to, as the government, stamp your authority and say, hey, we want you to secure these operations. Don't just shift this over to a little agency like the EPA. We need to get full coverage liability for your operations. So, like I said, I think our government is really taking a laid back approach. I don't think that they're taking this thing seriously. At the last presidential press conference, Kiana even raised it with the president. I said, Mr. President, an oil spill can have far-reaching impacts, and as a matter of fact, it can affect as many as 14 Caribbean islands. And this is not what I am saying. This is based on the ExxonMobil EIA submitted so far. His response to me, and perhaps I can get Mr. Lal to share that tape with you guys at another program. He was saying, we can't look at the bad examples. Let us focus on those good examples that are out there. Trinidad has operated for over 100 years, and we have never seen a citizen, trying to show the negativity and what can and cannot happen. We need to focus on what can happen. Davina shows some success stories as to how oil helped to develop other countries. There are so many out there. And so I think Ghana is moving so rapidly. We are pushing past industry standards. And again, this is not Kaieteur News saying this, or Kiana Wilberg saying this, and Davina Baggett saying this. This is what Exxon has said itself to us, that they have moved at such a pace that they have never even done before. And Guyana, like I said earlier in my remarks, as much as we are pushing ahead with our production activities, we need to see equal effort in regulating and monitoring our sector. We can't just be ramping up production activities and we're not taking proper safeguards. We need to make sure that these protections are in place. And something as simple as a signed parent company guarantee. If Exxon is so confident that its operations are safe, I see no reason why they can't sign a document to say we are going to take responsibility to cover any damages that this insurance cannot cover. They have been saying endlessly, our operations are safe. We're taking all these precautions. We're doing this and we're doing that. So why are you then so insecure, and why are you reluctant to give us that signed parent company guarantee?
Davina, the point you raised, it is disheartening that our leaders would take the position of saying, let's not look at those who got it wrong. Let's look only at those who got it right. The ones who got it right did so because they looked at the ones who got it wrong. That is how they were able to set themselves apart.
Correct.
Trinidad and Tobago, and Davina, you were there with me. Mr. Lal was there. We have spoken to so many stakeholders from Trinidad, and they all say, listen, there is so much you can learn from us because of how many mistakes we've made in this industry. The IDB, the Inter-American Development Bank, the World Bank, every time they give us a loan, they always outline the situation. They give you a situational report of the country, and they explain why they are providing this report, why they're providing this loan, beg your pardon. And in each situational report, Davina, both financial institutions always impress upon Guyana how easy it is to move from being touted as the fastest growing economy in the world to being right on par with those who got it wrong. Almost every situational report. I know it's every, but just for safety's sake, almost every situational report. And why do they tell us about how easy it is to get it wrong with this industry? Because those who got it wrong, that club, that group of countries that got it wrong, it by far 1,000 times, it eclipses those who got it right in the industry. And it's only a handful. It is only a handful. And the majority of the countries that got it right, they didn't get it right just because they are smarter than us in terms of being the world's best legislators. It's not because, they had some sophisticated, otherworldly technology that we just don't have any access to. No. It came down to one thing: political will.
Yeah.
That is what it took. Those countries were not afraid to look at those who got it wrong, and you need to look at those who got it wrong, because at this juncture of our history, oil and gas already accounts the oil industry, and we only have 2 ships in operation, and oil accounts for more than 50% of the economy, and we have about four ships already sanctioned, with the 5th already on the way, and discussions already for the 6th, line of sight already for the 7th. And we're not supposed to talk about how to safeguard this country that will be led, the economy will be dominated by oil and gas. And we're not supposed to talk about vulnerabilities. We're not supposed to talk about the risk.
Right.
We're not supposed to ensure we don't become complacent. I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
I would not stand for that.
And it's important to note the types of devastating impacts that can be had from an event such as an oil spill.
Yep.
Because it's not like, let's say, sugar, where if we have some sort of a flood, there are impacts, yes, but to a point whereby it can wipe out so much of your country's growth. You see, when we have an oil spill, it can be so devastating that it would not only impact our growth, but it can also have impacts on other Caribbean territories.
Absolutely.
So that is why we have been trying to get not only our government, but we have been even pressing Exxon at these press conferences that they have, to give us full liability coverage. So like you said, Kiana, it all comes down to political will. And so I recall recently, sometime last year, the opposition went to Parliament and they...
Oh, goodness, the opposition. Continue. That's a whole disappointing... But anyway, Davina, I'm sorry. Please continue.
Yes. So they went to Parliament and they decided to file this motion to try to press the government to get full liability coverage out of ExxonMobil. Now, that motion was thrown out by the government, and it was discussed widely before it. They threw out that motion. They said, hey, man, we just can't do this. It's not feasible. We're going to drive away investment, all sorts of things they came up with. Those MPs came up with. So Mr. David Patterson, he's the Shadow Natural Resources Minister. He was the one that filed that motion. And he said, look, at a press conference, a later press conference, they may have thrown out this thing, but we in the opposition are going to keep pressing to ensure we will not give up on full liability coverage. Now, since then, we haven't seen or heard anything from the opposition as it regards to the call for full liability coverage. In fact, I have seen that there's a woman's led group, Red Shred, that they have taken on this role now of protesting the office of the president at least once monthly to say to him, sir, we would like to see full liability coverage in place because this burden for our cleanup, our livelihoods, all sorts of things can be impacted by an oil spill. So we don't want to bear this burden. We want you to take this step now to ensure that Exxon gives us this coverage. So we have seen that group protesting at least once monthly for the parent company guarantee to be in place. I have reached out to the opposition and hopefully they give me a response soon as to what is next, because we as journalists too, Kiana, we have to ensure that we not just let them slip by. They are elected, they are our representatives in parliament, and so we need to hold them to the fire, ensure that they are moving and pressing on our behalf, not just talking about the small matters. We need to ensure that these people are addressing our $1 million, $1 billion, $1 trillion sector. So I have reached out to them. Hopefully they give me a response soon as to what is next on this matter.
Davina, on the political opposition, and I'm glad that you raised that because at Kaieteur News, we believe everyone needs to be placed under the microscope. Not Correct. Just the government. It's yes. not just the government that has to be held accountable for their action or inaction.
Correct.
But the political opposition as well. And every week you see these statements about racism, and you see these statements about all types of issues, and there is hardly any focus, and let me just paraphrase that, hardly any independent focus from the opposition. And when I say independent, I mean not what they read from Kaieteur News from Stabrook News. There is hardly any independent analysis, substance, or research, or any policy position as regards the oil and gas industry. Yes, you table questions in Parliament, you utilize that route, fine, no problem. But the advocacy cannot stop there.
Exactly.
Davina, you mentioned that there's the Red Shred group. Mm-hmm. They're doing their bit to protest and to contribute to the fight for a fair change and for a better environment, a better regulatory and legislative environment. But what are we seeing from the political opposition? And I just want to give two examples. The AFC leader, Kemraj Ramjatan, last week spoke about the audit that was first published and released by Stabrook News. Subsequent to that, he released the report for the media. Up until this point, we don't know what are the main findings of the AFC or its partner, APNU, as it pertains to this report. Not a single statement about findings that it has been able to uncover from reading this report and what it finds alarming. Mm-hmm. But we've had a statement from Ramjatan speaking about what was reported on in Stabrook News.
Like you said, no independent findings.
Then, and that's just the audit report. The government released in February the draft documents for the model PSA for deep water and shallow water. Up until this point, we don't know what the opposition agrees or doesn't agree with in this document. Mm-hmm. They were asked, I recall asking the AFC, what is your take on the documents? And they couldn't provide an answer. Wow. It's the same thing with the APNU.
Correct. Kiana, if I may, last week's press conference, I think you asked the question about the PSA to AFC. So the week before, one of the executive members, I had joined their press conference. Dr. Vincent Adams, he was sharing some of his concerns about the PSA. They were related to the cost recovery of insurance, the fact that it can be recovered and so on. I don't want to get in much to it because I had to actually point out to him that there is a clause in the PSA that says Guyana will not be on the hook for any sort of costs associated with the spill and so on. So right. I don't want to get too much into that. But as it regards the APNU faction, at their last press conference, I raised the question. I said, are you ready to share some of your concerns, or what are your comments on this PSA? I mean, the 2 weeks period has elapsed. So they said at the appropriate time they're going to release those findings to us. I'm not sure when that might be, but that is all we got from them. At the appropriate time, they are going to share those concerns with us. Yes. So,
if that is not the definition of lazy, and I'll leave it at that. And, when the opposition cannot, fault anyone for thinking that it is just asleep at the wheel and singing one tired tune over and over about racism and elections and different issues. We need to get down to the policy issues. Yes. Elections is around the corner. Mm-hmm. And we're seeing that every single week we hear these statements, but we don't know what are the policy positions. We don't know that. We don't see the in-depth analysis. Up to this point, nobody knows what the APNU or the AFC would do if they're elected tomorrow. What would they do to strengthen the legislative and regulatory framework or mechanisms for the oil and gas industry? What would they do to turn around the industry and maximize value? Nobody knows. That's a mystery. So the opposition clearly needs to step up its game. Yes, it is using the parliamentary avenue to ask questions. It is making efforts to pursue answers via various committees. But the the advocacy needs to be better. The media is by far, sometimes I wonder if there is even an opposition, or if we just have people with different views in two different political parties, and they hold press conferences when they become, because this is not a government in waiting.
It's sad, as Mr. Lal would say, we're in trouble.
Yes, and it's very frightening, It's quite troubling. And, just to go back to some of the issues that we've raised, Davina, there's so many issues that we still need clarity on, especially where government is concerned. One of the things that we have called for and we have yet to see is a beneficial ownership register for those individuals who are behind these oil blocks. Mm-hmm. Who are the true owners, the true beneficiaries of the mining the mining industry? Who are the people, who are the players involved there? We don't know, and we've been asking for this for quite some time.
I think this is particularly important at this point in our country, even as we are in this phase of auctioning more of our oil blocks. And so I think this is the opportune time for us to have this register in place, because here we are about to award 14 of our oil blocks again, and we have no clue who it's going to. The beneficial owners, as you said. So these are things that must be in place. These are things that we have to keep pressing them to ensure that, that we have these transparency measures implemented. Josh, I believe that we're nearing the hour time. We've been rambling for quite some time, and so I would like to open the phone lines if we have callers that are eager to come through with their questions, with their comments. Kiana, I'm sorry, did I interrupt you?
Oh, no, not at all. Yes, Joshua, if we have anyone who's on the line or what's not, if not, we would go ahead and...
Well, let me just give them the numbers just in case they might have forgot. 226-745-324. Ms. Lal's not here tonight, so you can call us on those two numbers or 622-2222. 226-745-324 or 622-2222. Go ahead, and as soon as the call comes through, I will let you know.
Thanks, Josh. You know, Davina, one of the important roles that I see the media playing is ensuring that this oil and gas industry has a very significant light of transparency. And I am pleased with the effort that we're seeing from Stabrook News and ourselves, and I'm hoping that we see more media houses coming on board, being more curious and providing more investigative analysis on the oil and gas industry. Joshua, we have a caller.
First caller.
Hello. Good evening.
Hello, you heard me?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hello.
So I was listening to the program from the beginning, and there's so many things that are coming to my mind, but I'll just try to make it short.
No problem.
Now,
His volume went down?
evil prevails when good men do nothing. And I say that to say that our current opposition fits that category. Because you know why? They have been failing from their obligation as an opposition. I don't know what is their definition of the word opposition, right? A political opposition. I don't know if that thing has been lost or they are just there like placeholders, occupying the other side of the table or the bench, so to speak. So I heard you said that you haven't seen anything like detailed analysis that they're making about the oil and gas sector or anything for the economy, as a matter of fact. Now that is so true because I've been observing the same. All that they do, they would speak anecdotally. For example, if you corner them, seeing them somewhere, blah 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 blah, and they say something, and they done there. So it's just anecdotal reporting they are doing, and nothing comprehensive, conclusive comes out of their mouth. Because you know why? It's either one of two things. It's either they are just plain incompetent, or two, they are playing the game. And this game that I'm talking about is that they are just they have actually chosen to remain silent. And there is some sort of thing that is going on. And I think the listeners need to make the conclusion what I'm getting at, read between the lines, as Mr. Lal would say. Right? So what we need to understand is that I, as a citizen, a born person from in this country here, Guyana, I have my views. I would say this: the PDP should have been in opposition. They make a very good opposition when someone else is in power, is in government, right? Because we see from the last time what had happened. They were on their
I'm not hearing the call. Oh.
What is happening now, since the table has turned and they are in government, we are seeing all things going on. And this in particular, the oil sector. Now, I heard you mention that the ExxonMobil has been saying that they are working according to their regulation. But what regulation they are working? They are basing these claims on. Look, for example, that FPSO ship there. I can't remember the figure offhand, but isn't it built to do 100 and something thousand barrels of oil per day when they are exceeding it by about 30,000 barrels? Is that following regulation? Right away, that's one case where they have breached the regulation. That's one. What about dumping produced water back into the ocean? What about the flaring? What about so many other things? What about the dumping of refuse on land here, right? So I don't know where they're coming from, but you see, I have been doing a little bit of reading, and from my little understanding is that ExxonMobil and like so many other companies like them, that is what they do when they go into third world countries, right? They go there because they know that the institutions that regulate certain things, they are either corrupt or they are non-functioning, right? So they come here and they do exactly that. The EPA, for example, is one such rubber stamp organization. And you say rubber stamp because nothing really goes on there. It's just a building with a few employees inside, and they sign a little bit of paper here and there. But we all know what is happening, right? So this brings me to this point here. I am thinking that we can rant and rave so much about this and that, like you and Divina has been doing so skillfully, right? You're getting the news out. But you know what is failing us, I think, and I am no lawyer. I believe our laws needs to be either amended or there needs to be new laws in place. Because this is the reason why they are hiding behind this framework of the whatever existing laws are there. Because nothing is there to implicate them, right?
Okay.
That caller made some excellent points.
Yes, he did.
He said a mouthful in just those few minutes.
Yes, he did. And Davina, you wanted to respond while we're trying to reconnect with the caller?
Yes. I made 3 points that I would like to respond to. His first statement that evil prevails when good men do nothing. I just wanted to make the point, and he stressed the opposition being silent. I wanted to enlighten you guys that you also have a role to play as citizens of our country, and so this program offers you an opportunity to add your voice and to press government for better management. Is there a caller online?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're back. Yes. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
So yes, sorry about that. So the accounting firm that you see that is handling the auditing firm that is handling the audits here for that period, I am not too certain if that firm is one of these accredited firm, because like to me, like I've never heard of that name before, and I have no doubt. Let's give the benefit to the doubt that it is a highly accredited firm and so on. But I have been noticing something here in recent times, that these companies that are handling the affairs of Guyana are some of these companies that I have never heard about, like the Blackstone group that was looking after the hydro project at that time. And when you look at it, I don't know what kind of a history they have in these undertakings, right? So it's kind of shady there. And I am saying that we should be having the reputable companies doing the auditing. Why would this government not want a reputable company to do these audits, right? That's one of my concerns. Why they're always speaking, like, for example, that Canadian woman, Redford, right? I mean, out of the blue, somebody came from Alberta to Guyana, and she was handling the audits or something to that effect, right? We don't know who is this person, except we know that she was some politician at some time or something like that. So I am saying that the government needs to have they need to put systems in place. They need to have reputable people to handle these situations, right? And to look after the country's interests at its best. So I am saying that there should be a petroleum commission. Until now, there has been no petroleum commission. We have a GGMC and we have a GFC, among the others. Why can't there be a petroleum commission? But this goes to show that where this country, and as you use the word, political will, it's not there to have these transparent bodies set up, right? And to not just to have them set up, but to give them the leverage for them to act in their capacity that they have the mandate to function in, right? So I don't like the idea that we have a vice president who is meddling in all the affairs of this country, especially we know that he's oil and gas. He was put there to handle that, but I am not certain if he's usurping certain authorities. That is something that needs to be looked at. And if it's so that he's usurping, that needs to stop ASAP. because it's confusing the whole process, and this is where I think ExxonMobil wants this country, because they like when confusion happens, and we can have civil strife in the country and these kind of problems, and they're busy extracting the oil, taking it away. So there are many things that needs to be looked at, many things from the government level, and we all know that is why, thanks to you guys at Kaieteur newspaper that have been exposing these things from time to time, and that is where I got the start into this thing. So I would like to encourage both of you to keep up the good work that you're doing, and to give Guyanese some sort of hope when you do this reporting. So I will leave it there for now, and thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, caller.
This was about
Very
prayer.
comprehensive.
So I'll give you a chance to respond.
So one of the key points raised by the caller that I wish to touch on briefly pertains to how the oil and gas industry has remained clutched to the political bosom of this government. And for quite some time, several industry stakeholders have been saying that there needs to be an arm's length approach between government and the oil and gas industry. We should have independent stakeholders representing our interests, being that go-between between companies and government. And that is important because you need to have a check on the politicians. You need to have someone in place, and it's in place with all ministries. There's a reason why you have permanent secretaries. There's a reason why you have a layer of regulation within an industry. And the absence of a petroleum commission has been a cause of concern, and it's been raised, it's been flagged. Just recently, I saw a newspaper piece by Stavrook News where Christopher Ram, chartered accountant Christopher Ram, as well as Anand Gulsaran, former Auditor General and a chartered accountant, both gentlemen raised the importance of having a petroleum commission in place, and the fact that we do face several risks by not having an independent regulator in place.
But Kian, I think it's clear by now that this goes against what the government wishes for the sector. I think they have made up their minds that we are moving this thing at our pace. And so we don't want to have an independent person to slow us down. And so we've seen them take measures. And like you said, by not setting up this commission, they have, taken a seat back to say, man, let's run this thing our way. We don't want people to manage this for us. We're going to do it our way. And so by not installing that commission, that's one way of them taking control, them managing this with their own hands. Yeah. And so outside of that, we've seen them appoint members to these different management boards to sort of ensure that things are run the way they want them to go. And so, that is where we are right now. And even, we like to knock the opposition for not playing its role. But I think what we've been seeing from government is sort of an approach from them that shuts out their voices too. We've not been seeing as many parliamentary sittings, and I'm not sure that the government is interested in even listening to any other advice that says we want to go another way. We don't want to go your way, Mr. President or Mr. VP. Let's try it this way. I don't think that they're open to these types of things. They're not open to constructive criticisms, and so that is why we see them taking this approach of attacking Kaieteur News and its credibility, and not just Kaieteur News now, but the independent press. We don't have much of these media houses in the country, most of them report for the government. And so we have seen recently the vice president and the president, the government generally taking a position to discredit, to try its best to discredit what these newspapers have been trying to achieve, which is good governance. So that is where we are basically. And just quickly, I wanted to respond to something the caller said about ExxonMobil not following the regulations and them going beyond the safe operating limits of the FPSOs, and the flaring, the dumping. Kiana, I want to just tell that caller that the government is allowing this. So they have said to Exxon, hey, you flare as much as you want, just pay me for it. So the government is completely okay with it. Yes, there are the environmental impacts, but the government has clearly said in those permits that they've granted, you can flare, just pay us a fee and, you know, you do whatever. And even with the upping of production, they have also allowed them to do it. This is in keeping with what they want, their goals and objectives. So it's a money-making sort of strategy. There was another guy on the line. He was talking about the EPA being a rubber stamp agency. I wanted to just address that statement for a bit, because what I think we need to understand is that the EPA is just the agency that is operating with limited capacity at this point in time. And I think they are struggling to make those ends meet. And so here we have, again, another agency that is so in need of capacity building. And so this is, I do not want us to blame the EPA. I think we should...
And it's not autonomous either.
Yes, I think we should hold, this is another agency that we need to hold accountable onto the government, because they have a responsibility to ensure that this agency, the capacity is built so that they can carry out their operations to manage the sector. So let's not just beat up the EPA, but let us remember that this is an agency that is controlled by the government, as Kiana said. So we need to ensure that we hold government accountable to ensure that these people get the funds and the sort of capacity building that they so require.
I completely agree with you, Davina.
Yes.
On that note, in my concluding remarks, just to touch on or recap a bit about what we spoke of earlier, we spoke at length about some of the findings of the preliminary audit of 1.6 billion US incurred by ExxonMobil and its partners from 1999 to 2017. We spoke about these, the inaction of the political opposition, the fact that more needs to be done, and we also examined the absence of a petroleum commission, having an independent regulator for the oil and gas industry, among other critical matters. And I think those are key areas which we dived into, which we really got into for our discussion. And I am pleased with the contributions that we had tonight. I want to say thank you to those callers who were courageous enough to provide us with your perspectives. Thank you. And we hope next week that you join the oil and gas team to have your say, because that is important. Continue to enlighten yourselves about what's really going on with your resources, and knowing your rights and understanding how you can demand better for current and future generations. Davina, as always, it's been such a pleasure to engage in discussion with you. I feel like I can call you my sister. And I'm always pleased to know that this conversation at the table is being led by two young women.
Yes.
who are part of the media. I'm really proud of that fact because we need more women
Yes.
to continue to take their place in society and to continue to lead this conversation as well. We can't just leave it to the men alone, you know? So on that note, thanks again, guys, for joining us this evening. We hope that even though Mr. Lal is not here with us, that you would have still been able to participate in a satisfactory discussion, an enlightening discussion. And Joshua, thanks again for moderating and leading us throughout this evening. Without further ado, I'd say thank you so much again. Davina, it was a pleasure.
If I think about the ways you make me smile, I'd be sitting here and smiling for a while. Although I know I make you cry sometimes, your happiness is ever on my mind. I cannot repay for everything you've done, but my love for you burns brighter than the sun. No matter where my feet and mind may go, my heart will lead to you and you alone. Guyana, Guyana, I'll be holding on to you forevermore. Guyana, Guyana, may the blessings of God never leave your shore. A paradise so wondrous to behold, a work of art, your heart is gleaming gold. They sail the
Kaieteur Radio, keeping you informed.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Burbies 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
$12 23 in Guyana, and you're listening to Kaieteur Radio. I'm Kevin Smith with your news at noon. Vice President Bara Jagdeo confirmed yesterday that the Environmental Protection Agency is in the process of wrapping up discussions on a parent guarantee from ExxonMobil Corporation for the Stabroek Block. During a press conference at the Arthur Chung Convention Center yesterday, the chief policymaker for the oil industry said he spoke with officials at EPA before attending the briefing, and they confirmed that those discussions are in the final stages. He predicted that it should reach finality in a matter of weeks. The vice president was keen to note that he does not want to impose, whether unwittingly or not, any artificial deadlines on the EPA team, which could affect its ability to be thorough at the technical level. He did note, however, that the matter of a parent guarantee, which could be in the vicinity of $2 billion, remains a priority for regulators. Meanwhile, oil-rich Guyana is among 5 countries in the Latin America and Caribbean region that were listed as heavily indebted poor countries, or HIPC, in an April 2023 report by the International Monetary Fund. The report tabled emerging market and developing economies by region, net external position, heavily indebted poor countries, and per capita income classification. Under the LAC table, Guyana, along with Bolivia, Haiti, Honduras, and Nicaragua, were listed as HIPC countries. And the government is prepared to challenge disputed costs claimed by ExxonMobil to extract the resources in the Stabroek Block through the process of international arbitration. This is so as it refuses to renegotiate the terms of the lopsided agreement signed by the former APNU-AFC coalition in 2016. According to the contract, costs that have been flagged in an audit and deemed unacceptable can be recovered by the contractor until the dispute is resolved. And the government has received the final report from the team of auditors that reviewed ExxonMobil's $7.3 billion expenses between 2018 and 2020. At a press conference on Thursday, Vice President Jagdeo said that the report has been received and the technical teams are presently reviewing the document. Jagdeo said there is a notion that the government wants to hide the reports to protect oil companies, but this is against the intention of the administration. Kieron Bruce, a well-known photographer, has heightened security at his home while police continue to analyze footage of an attack that resulted in his house being riddled with bullets on Tuesday evening. The footage shows a lone gunman pulling up on a motorcycle and opening fire at his residence located at Eccles, and according to Crime Chief Wendell Blanham, his investigators are doing their best to track down the suspect in the shortest possible time. It is understood that investigators have also obtained footage from other security cameras in the neighborhood to assist in identifying the gunman. However, in an interview on Thursday, Bruce said that a popular social media figure could be responsible for the attack on his home. The individual, he claimed, had threatened to expose his location and address to criminal elements. Bruce alleged too that he even has evidence of the person staking out his house in a heavily tinted vehicle months ago. Meanwhile, Bruce has not been able to work since the attack because of fear that the gunman might return. And a man who in past has been charged for scamming multiple individuals out of their earned cash is once again under the radar for allegedly swindling hundreds of thousands of dollars out of a granny and others under the pretense that he could get them visas to travel to the United States. Speaking with us on Thursday, the elderly woman said she met the alleged swindler in February of 2023 after he was recommended through a trusted acquaintance. The acquaintance reportedly recommended the alleged swindler has links with officials attached to the American Embassy in Guyana and can assist, but she will have to pay more. The elderly woman paid the man $160,000 to get her visa. And after serving 16 years in the judiciary, Chief Magistrate Ann McLennan has proceeded on pre-retirement leave and is scheduled to retire on May 15th. Chief Magistrate McLennan, who is also a colonel in the GDF, had enlisted to join the Army in September of 1985 and successfully graduated from the Standard Officers Course number 17 in 1986. Vice President Jagdeo has clarified that the government is not delinquent in complying with the process meant to correct the financial irregularities highlighted in the Auditor General reports. His comments came on the heels of an accusation made by Chairman of the Public Accounts Committee, Jermaine Figuera. Figuera accused the government of dragging its feet on implementing measures to correct the repeated skullduggery perpetrated at the level of state agencies. He claimed that this is owing to the government's failure to adhere to the parliamentary standing orders, which stipulates that recommendations to help address those irregularities are to be made via a Treasury memorandum, which has to be laid in the Parliament by the Minister of Finance. Addressing reports the government has failed to lay over the Treasury memorandum to the Parliament, Vice President Jagdeo said the government has done its part by submitting the Treasury memorandum to the Clerk of the National Assembly for it to be placed on the order paper. According to Jagdeo, the government is now waiting on the PSC chair to move a motion in Parliament so that the next memorandum can be laid over to the House. And CEO of ExxonMobil was handed a 52% pay increase to $35.9 million for 2022 after the oil company reported its highest profits ever amid Russia's invasion of Ukraine, which sent oil prices soaring. And that does it for your main newscast for today. I'm Kevin Smith. Thank you for listening.
If something doesn't look right, then there is something wrong. And if you suspect child abuse, then you must report it to the Child Care and